Welcome back to Moro Gloom. Tonight, we're stepping into a server you were never meant to see. They say if you join, it knows you. It knows your fears. And it whispers one thing only: how you'll die. This is the Discord server that predicts your end. If you've ever scrolled Discord at 3 in the morning, you've probably seen some weird servers. Communities that claim to summon demons, channels filled with nothing but static images, people who swear they can hex you through your IP address. Most of it's fake. Most of it's just bored kids trolling for a reaction. But there's one server that isn't like the others. One server that doesn't pretend, doesn't roleplay, doesn't joke. It predicts how you'll die. I should stop right here. If you click away now, you might still be safe. I said might. Because the thing about this server is that the more you know, the more it knows you. And if you've already heard its name, if you've even thought about it, then maybe you're already on the list. I didn't believe it at first either. How could I? Death is supposed to be random, chaotic, not written out in some grimy chat room like a Discord fortune cookie. But when you see someone type their username, wait a few seconds, and watch as a message appears with a time, a place, and a cause, and then you log back in the next day to find out it happened, that's when you stop laughing. That's when you start wondering about your own death. I wasn't looking for it. Nobody really does. That's the first rule: you don't find the server. It finds you. For me, it was a late-night DM, some throwaway account with a username I didn't recognize. No words, no context, just an invite link with a skull emoji next to it. I should have deleted it. I should have blocked the sender, shut down my PC, and gone to sleep. Instead, I clicked. And if you're still listening, still curious, then maybe you would have too. Because curiosity is the only thing stronger than fear, until the fear catches up. I don't expect you to believe me yet. Hell, I don't even expect you to stay. But if you do, if you keep watching, then by the end of this story you'll understand why I'm recording it at all. Most nights of my life blur together. School in the morning, work in the afternoon, and a kind of numb autopilot in the evening. I'd come home, dump my bag in the corner, and sink into my chair like it was quicksand. My escape wasn't anything special. It was the same thing a million people do every night. Discord. I wasn't a streamer. I wasn't a mod in some huge community. I was just another lurker in a pile of gaming servers, meme dumps, and group chats that never seemed to sleep. I had my friend group, sure. We'd play Apex or Valorant until our brains were fried, screaming at each other through bad headsets. The kind of laughter that only feels funny because it's 3 in the morning. That was my life. Small, predictable, safe. The glow of the monitor, the sound of my friends arguing over loot drops, the familiar comfort of scrolling through servers where nothing ever really changed. And honestly, I thought that was enough. Looking back, that was the last normal night I had. I remember it clearly because it was so ordinary. Homework half finished on my desk, my phone buzzing with notifications I ignored, Discord open in the background while I procrastinated everything else. I bounced between channels like a ghost. One server was all memes. Another was just people spamming anime emojis. Another was dead, its last message a lonely "anyone still here?" from months ago. There's something oddly comforting about it, though, the digital noise of other people's lives. A stream of jokes, complaints, arguments. It makes you feel less alone, even when you're sitting in a dark room with nothing but cold pizza and the hum of your fan. That night, my friends and I were grinding matches like usual. I wasn't paying much attention, more focused on scrolling through channels than actually playing. That's when I noticed how stale it all felt.
The same memes recycled, the same arguments about whether PC or console was better, the same inside jokes that weren't funny anymore. It hit me then. I'd been looking at the same handful of servers every single day, like running on a hamster wheel. Nothing new, nothing surprising. Just the same familiar comfort, until something different appeared. I don't even remember which server I was in when it happened. I just remember my DM list lighting up with a red dot. A new message. From who? I didn't recognize the username. No mutual servers, no friends in common. Just a gray profile picture and a name that looked randomly generated. At first I assumed it was spam. Some bot trying to sell me free nitro or drag me into a crypto scam. Normally I'd ignore it. Normally I'd delete it without a second thought. But for some reason, maybe boredom, maybe curiosity, I hovered over the notification. One message. That's all it was. No text. No emojis. Just a link. It looked like a standard Discord invite, the kind you see 100 times a week. Except the server name wasn't visible. Just a black skull emoji sitting there like it was waiting for me to click. My finger hovered over the mouse, torn between habit and hesitation. I told myself it was probably a joke. Probably just some dumb server with edgy kids posting cursed images. I should have ignored it. I should have gone back to my match. But something about it tugged at me. The way the username had no history. The way the link felt like it was meant only for me. I didn't click that night. Not yet. I minimized the DM and went back to my game. But the icon sat there in the corner of my screen, glowing, pulling at the edges of my attention. And no matter how hard I tried to focus on anything else, I couldn't stop thinking about it. That was the first time I saw the invitation. The last time my world was still normal. I didn't click the link right away. I told myself I wasn't that reckless. But the thing about the internet is that the more you try to ignore something, the more it festers in the back of your mind. That little skull icon in my DMs felt like it was pulsing, like it was alive, waiting for me to acknowledge it. 2 nights passed before I finally gave in. 2 nights of telling myself I didn't care, while secretly hovering my mouse over it, reading the timestamp over and over again. It felt like it was mocking me. One new message. The username was still there, just as empty, just as meaningless as the night I first saw it. No status updates, no profile picture, no activity. Like it only existed to deliver that single message. I should have known that was the first red flag. When I finally clicked, my screen flickered for a second. Maybe it was my imagination, maybe it was my crappy Wi-Fi, but I swear the colors on my monitor inverted for half a breath before the invite window popped up. There was no server name, just a tagline under the skull emoji. We all die? Here's how. That was it. No description, no rules, no list of friends inside. Just that single phrase staring back at me. Every rational part of me screamed not to click. This was classic scam territory. But the thing about fear is, it comes with curiosity baked inside. You don't stare at the accident on the highway because you like blood. You stare because some part of you needs to know what happened. And right then, I needed to know. My mouse hovered over join. I felt stupid, like I was overreacting to some edgy troll server. Still, my heart was beating too fast for something so simple. Click. The screen blinked, and for a moment I thought nothing had happened. Then Discord refreshed, and a new server appeared at the bottom of my list. The icon was the same skull as the DM, pure black with hollow white eyes. It shouldn't have worked. That's what got me. Normally, when you join a Discord server, you get a little pop-up, a welcome screen, a list of channels, maybe a meme in the chat. But this time there was no fanfare. Just silence. The server had only 3 channels visible to me. Hashtag rules. Hashtag predictions. Hashtag countdown. That was it. No voice channels. No spam. No mods posting server boosts. It felt clinical, stripped down, like it wasn't meant for anything but one purpose. And the strangest thing? There were barely any people. Maybe 50 usernames in total, most of them muted, their profiles dimmed like they hadn't spoken in ages. A handful of active ones chatted in hashtag predictions, but even their messages felt wrong, short, desperate, sometimes outright terrified. I scrolled up, and that's when my stomach twisted. The predictions weren't vague, fortune cookie nonsense. They were specific. Dates, times, methods. One read, car accident, March 14th, 2024. Intersection of Pine and 8th, 2:37 p.m. Another, collapsed lung, June 2nd, 2025. While streaming live. I should have left. Closed Discord, deleted the DM, walked away. But instead, I leaned closer, eyes locked on the scrolling text. Because if these people were role-playing, they were scarily good at it. And if they weren't role-playing, it wasn't supposed to exist. But I joined anyway. And that's when everything started to unravel. The first thing I noticed after joining was how quiet it felt. Not empty quiet, but heavy, like the silence you hear in a church when no one's praying. A few messages trickled through the hashtag predictions channel, but compared to every other Discord I'd ever been in, this one was suffocating. No GIF spam. No bots blasting music. No, hey guys, every 3 seconds. Just these eerie lines of text that looked less like conversation and more like autopsy reports. At the top of the screen, in hashtag rules, there was a single pinned message. It was written in plain white text by someone called Admin Mortality Bot. 1. Do not lie about your username. 2. Do not post false predictions. 3. Once you receive your prediction, it cannot be undone. 4. Leaving does not save you. No emojis. No disclaimers. No. Have fun and be kind, like a normal server. Just those 4 rules. At first, I laughed. I couldn't help it. It was so blunt it felt like satire. Some bored programmer with too much time on their hands had whipped up a spooky gimmick bot, and the gullible kids were eating it up. But then I started scrolling through hashtag predictions. The messages looked random at first. User, Violet_eyes. Prediction, August 12th, 2026. House fire, trapped in bedroom. User, Technotaco. Prediction, November 3rd, 2025, asthma attack, gym locker room. User, ShyKid97. Prediction, February 9th, 2024, overdose, bathroom sink, 11:04 p.m. The level of detail made my skin crawl. These weren't just you'll die young, or you'll get hit by a bus. They had timestamps, locations, mannerisms. One even noted a song the person would be listening to when it happened. I scrolled further and noticed the way people reacted. Some laughed it off, treating it like a joke. Elmeo good one bot. I don't even have asthma. Others weren't laughing. That's not funny. My doctor literally diagnosed me with lung issues last month. Wait, how do you know what street I live on? No. No. I'm not dying like that. F***U. ***. Every now and then, someone would post panicked spam in all caps, only for their messages to vanish within seconds, presumably deleted by the bot. The more I read, the more unsettled I became. But I couldn't stop scrolling. And then I saw the hashtag countdown channel. It was locked for me, but I could see little timer messages updating live. Usernames I didn't recognize ticking down second by second. I hovered over one. Ethereal_Jane, 45, 44, 43. I didn't know who Jane was, but I sat there, watching her timer run out like a psychopath refreshing a news feed. When it hit 0, her name vanished from the server list. No goodbye, no explanation. Just gone. I wanted to believe it was coding trickery. A prank. Maybe she just left on her own for dramatic effect. But deep down, something twisted in my gut. The chat reacted instantly. She's gone. Holy S** it happened. ***. Anyone know her IRL? Stop asking, it doesn't matter. One user, Night Parade, typed. Another one down. Who's next? That was the moment I realized the pattern. Once you asked for your prediction, your name appeared in hashtag countdown. And I couldn't help myself. I wanted to know. The skeptic in me whispered that it was all fake, just clever programming with maybe a database of public info scraped from the web. But the part of me that had been bored, that had been searching for something different in the endless scroll of Discord junk, that part wanted to type my name and hit enter. But before I did, I lingered, just to test the waters. I typed in the chat. So what's the deal? This some kind of ARG. A reply came almost immediately from someone called Noose with a View. Sure, keep telling yourself that. That's what I did. Until my brother's timer hit 0. Another chimed in. Don't feed the newbie. If they're here, they'll learn soon enough. Their words didn't help. They only pushed me further toward the edge. And then the bot itself pinged me. Mortality bot. Welcome, new member. When ready, type your username in this channel. Your prediction will be delivered. The message was so cold, so mechanical, that it made my fingers tremble. I told myself it was stupid, but my heart was hammering in my chest as I clicked the typing bar. It was like standing on a diving board, knowing the water's freezing, but needing to jump just to prove you're not scared. I hesitated, deleted a few keystrokes, tried again. My friends were still screaming through my headset about loot drops, completely unaware of the nightmare I was balancing on. Finally, I whispered to myself, "It's just a server. Just text. Nothing more." And then I started typing my name. I typed in my username and hit enter. For a moment, nothing happened. The cursor blinked back at me, patient, merciless. I wondered if maybe the bot had glitched, or if I'd misspelled my own handle. Then, in the next second, the reply dropped into the chat like a hammer slamming down. Mortality bot, May 14th, 2027, 2:12 a.m., alone in your apartment kitchen. You will hear the knock 3 times before it happens. I froze. It wasn't the prediction itself that made my stomach sink. It was the details. My apartment kitchen. That wasn't public information. I didn't list my apartment number anywhere, not on social media, not on Discord, not even on delivery apps. I lived alone, in a city where I barely knew anyone. There was no way, no conceivable way, a random Discord bot could have pulled that. And the knock. The second I read it, my chest tightened. Because 2 nights before, at exactly 2 a.m., I had heard something strange. 3 sharp knocks on my kitchen window. I lived on the 3rd floor. No balcony. No fire escape. Just empty air and brick walls. I hadn't told anyone about it. I hadn't even written it in a chat or a tweet. I told myself it was nothing. Pipes in the wall, or maybe I dreamt it. But now, seeing it typed out, staring back at me in sterile, unblinking font, it felt like someone had been watching. I laughed out loud, but it came out brittle and hollow. My fingers scrambled for excuses. It's random chance. It's just coincidence. Kitchen knock, who cares? But inside, I felt the dread rising. Other users started chiming in, of course. Night parade. Oh, fresh meat. Mark the calendar, everyone. Noose with a view. Don't laugh too hard. You'll hear the knocks again. We all do. Silent 93. Don't check the timestamp. It'll eat you alive. I couldn't stop myself. My eyes went back to the date. May 14th, 2027. That was only 2 years away. My chest prickled with this paradoxical mix of relief and horror. Relief that it wasn't tomorrow. Horror that a ticking clock had just been tied around my neck. I wanted to log out right there. Just shut Discord, delete the app, pretend I'd never seen it. But something glued me to the screen. It wasn't just the fear. It was the need to disprove it. So I typed back, playing the skeptic. Cute trick. Did you just guess? Or scrape my Google account or something? Mortality bot didn't respond. But others did. Violet_eyes. We all said the same thing. Wait until the first detail hits. Shy Kid 97, yeah. Mine started with a song. Guess what I heard on the radio today? Night parade. Don't waste your breath. You're already on the list. I slammed my laptop shut, muting their words in an instant. But silence didn't comfort me. It only made the words echo louder in my head. The knock 3 times. I tried to sleep that night, tossing in the dark. My body was exhausted, but my brain wouldn't switch off. Every creak in the walls sounded like someone rapping their knuckles against wood. Every tick of the clock made me flinch. I shoved a chair under my front doorknob like some cliché horror movie character, but it didn't help. And yet, somehow I drifted off. What woke me was the sound. 3 sharp knocks. Not on my front door. Not in the hallway. In the kitchen. I shot upright, my heart stuttering, every nerve in my body screaming denial. My phone said 2:11 a.m. I told myself it had to be the neighbors, maybe hammering on a wall or stomping upstairs. I told myself I'd imagined it, a hypnagogic hallucination. I whispered every excuse I could summon as I stumbled into the kitchen, flicking on the light. But the room was empty. The window was locked. The sink was dripping faintly. Nothing else. I laughed, too loud, too fast. See? Nothing. But the laugh trembled, cracked halfway through. That was the first time I understood what the others meant. It wasn't the prediction itself that terrified you. It was the way the first little piece slid into place, too precise to shrug off. I barely slept the rest of the night. The next morning, bleary-eyed, I opened Discord. I didn't want to, but it was like scratching a wound. I had to see what the server was saying. When I logged back in, I saw my name listed in #countdown. The timer was already there, ticking down in real time. My username. 620 days, 14 hours, 53 minutes. The site punched the air out of me. My lifespan wasn't just predicted, it was quantified, shrinking second by second. I typed a frantic message in the chat. You sick freaks. Who's running this? Who the hell is behind this bot? No one answered for a long time. Then, finally, Silent93 replied. You think someone's running it? You don't get it. No one's in control here. I wanted to scream. I wanted to believe this was some elaborate prank. But the weight in my chest, the echo of those knocks, told me I was already caught. That day, I tried to focus on school, on life, on anything else. But it was impossible. Every second felt heavier now, part of a finite countdown I couldn't ignore. Even when I laughed with friends, or played games, or stared at the ceiling, I felt it ticking inside me. I laughed the prediction off to myself. Again and again. Out loud sometimes, just to feel sane. Kitchen, knocks, big deal. Anyone could have guessed that. But in the pit of my stomach, I knew the truth. The first part had already come true, and the rest was waiting. They always said the worst thing you could do in that server was ask too many questions. I didn't believe it at first. I mean, that's what you do when you're scared, right? You search for answers. You dig until you find a crack in the illusion. You explain the unexplainable. That was my comfort mechanism. Rationalize it. Pin it to some hacker or ARG. Reduce it until it's small enough to laugh at. But the more I pressed, the colder the responses became. Whenever I asked in chat how the bot worked, people either ignored me or threw vague one-liners. Noose with a view. Stop pulling at the thread. You'll regret it. Silent93. You don't need to know who coded it. You need to ask who wrote it. Violet_eyes. Curiosity kills quicker than the countdown. And then, one night, I got a DM. The sender's name was just a string of symbols, almost unreadable, like glitched text. I almost deleted it immediately, assuming it was spam. But the preview caught me. If you want the truth, download the file. But understand this, no one survives knowing it. Attached was a single document, mortalityorigins.zip. My first instinct screamed, don't touch it. Every horror story online starts with someone opening the cursed attachment. It was textbook. I should have deleted it, blocked the user, and walked away. But I couldn't. The fear of not knowing had started to rot me from the inside. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. Every tick of that server countdown gnawed at me. I told myself this file might give me proof. Proof that it was fake, that there was some coder behind it, that this was all elaborate theater. So I downloaded it. The folder contained only one file, deathlog.txt. No flashy virus, no creepy graphics. Just a text file. I clicked it open, expecting gibberish or maybe some script kiddie bragging. Instead, it was pages upon pages of names. Thousands of them, each followed by a date, a time, and a description. At first, I thought it was a hoax. A giant list of randomly generated obituaries. But then, curiosity got me again. I pressed Ctrl+F and typed in my own username. It was there, exactly as the bot had said. Same date, same time, same knock 3 times. My mouth went dry. I searched other names I knew. My best friend's real name. My cousin. Even my old teacher from high school. All there. Not just usernames, but real names. Dates of birth, death predictions, all lined up like an endless ledger. I scrolled for what felt like hours, shaking harder with every flick of the mouse wheel. Some of the names were crossed out, and next to them, in brackets, were links to real-world news articles, obituaries, headlines about accidents, crime reports, and the timestamps matched perfectly. I wanted to believe it was just clever manipulation. A database of scraped news matched against online aliases. But some of the dates, they were in the future. The headlines didn't even exist yet. Some deaths were marked as pending, with timers just like in the server. That's when I realized this wasn't a log of predictions. It was a record. The server wasn't guessing what would happen. It was cataloging something that already knew. I slammed the laptop shut. My pulse was hammering so loud I thought I'd faint. But it didn't stop there. The next day, another DM arrived from the same glitched account. This time it wasn't an attachment. It was a message. You weren't supposed to look. Once you see the ledger, you belong to it. I didn't reply. I couldn't. My hands wouldn't move over the keys. That night, when I logged back into the server, something was different. The channels were almost empty. Half the usual names were gone. When I asked where everyone was, the only answer I got was from Silent93. They opened the file too. They don't last long after. I typed furiously. What is it? Who made it? How can it know these things? There was a long pause. Then, one final reply. No one made it. It was found. The words sent a chill so deep it felt like my bones were freezing. I wanted to demand more, but before I could, Silent93 went offline. I stared at those 3 words, it was found, until my vision blurred. Because suddenly, the pieces began to connect. The bot wasn't a bot at all. Not in the normal sense. It wasn't running on Discord servers. It wasn't coded by some edgy teenager or a cultist trolling people for fun. It was older. The ledger wasn't just predicting death, it was accounting for it. Like a bookkeeper, tallying the inevitable. Someone, or something, had stumbled onto it, buried in some forgotten corner of the net. Maybe it wasn't even digital to begin with. Maybe it had been translated into code, line by line, copied into a machine that could contain it. But the thing itself was older, ancient, and now I had touched it. That night, I dreamed of pages turning. Endless pages, stretching out into the dark, each line of text glowing faintly as if written in embers. I saw my name there again, burning brighter than the rest. And as the pages turned, I felt something watching me from behind them. Not human, not even alive in the way we understand it. When I woke, I couldn't shake the feeling that something had followed me out of the dream. The corners of my room felt crowded, like there were eyes just beyond the edge of the light. I stopped eating. I stopped talking to friends. My whole world collapsed into paranoia and the weight of that knowledge. The truth wasn't comforting. It wasn't a key to escape. It was a chain. And the more I knew, the tighter it pulled. Because here's the secret no one tells you until it's too late. The ledger doesn't just predict your death. It causes it. The moment you see your entry, you're bound to it. Your choices stop matching. Your resistance becomes part of the countdown. That's why they told me not to ask questions. That's why they warned me not to download the file. Because the instant I opened it, I wasn't just a bystander anymore. I was written in. And now, every second I breathe, I feel the ledger watching me, making sure I stay on schedule. The knocks at the window were only the beginning. I used to think the scariest sound in the world was silence. Now I know it's typing. Not mine, it's... Every time the entity responded in that server, I could hear it. A faint staccato clatter, like someone hammering keys inside my skull. The others swore they heard it too. Some said it sounded like bones cracking, some said like teeth chattering. But to me, it was unmistakable. Typing. Like the words were being written not on a keyboard, but on me. And it had started addressing me directly. At first, just mentions in chat. My username highlighted in blood red text no one else's system seemed to recognize. Then the messages grew longer. You shouldn't have looked at the file. Knowledge is debt, and debt must be paid. Knock, knock, knock. That last line froze me, because it wasn't just text. The moment it appeared, something rapped against my bedroom window. 3 sharp knocks. Perfectly timed. I screamed so loud I woke the neighbors. By the time I pulled back the curtains, the street was empty. I wanted to quit, to delete Discord, to throw my laptop out the window, to run until my legs gave out. But when I tried uninstalling the app, my screen glitched. A black box appeared with white text. Error. Process is bound. You cannot remove what is written you. That's when denial finally cracked. This wasn't code. This wasn't human. This was something that used code like a mask, something ancient shoved into the wires of the internet, and I had invited it into my life by clicking one link. The panic spiraled. I couldn't eat, couldn't shower, couldn't think of anything except that countdown. The others on the server weren't much better. Panic filled every channel. Some begged for help, typing things like, Ashen Soul, it said tomorrow. Please, someone tell me how to stop it. Violet_eyes. I burned my laptop, but the knocks followed me to my phone. Noose with a view. Don't fight. Fighting makes it worse. But then, something changed. A rebellion started brewing in the chat. A few members snapped under the weight and decided they'd had enough. Hex, we make the rules. If it's just a program, we break it. Rebar, flood the channels. Spam the bot. Force it to crash. Ashen Soul, if it wants me dead, I'll go down fighting. I watched, heart pounding, as dozens of users joined in. They filled the chat with random characters, paragraphs of nonsense, ASCII art. The channels exploded with thousands of lines per minute. It was chaos. For one wild moment, I let myself believe it might work. That the entity could be drowned, smothered under a tidal wave of human will. Then, everything went still. The chat froze mid-scroll. My cursor lagged. The entire server went quiet. And then, one by one, the spammers vanished. Not logged out. Not kicked. Their names simply flickered gray, then disappeared entirely, as if their accounts had never existed. In their place appeared a single new message, centered on my screen in a font I'd never seen Discord use before. Noise is not rebellion. It is acknowledgement. And now, they are written. I gagged, while rising in my throat. It had consumed them. Not just their accounts, them. Something broke inside me then. The last scrap of denial dissolved into raw, animal desperation. I typed, "What do you want from me?" For the first time, it replied instantly. Not want. Collect. The ledger writes. The ledger keeps. The ledger ends. Why me? I begged. Why any of us? Another pause. Then, because you looked. Because you read. Because you know. And then, as if to seal it, 3 more knocks at the window. Louder this time. Almost impatient. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't stop shaking. The walls of my room felt like they were bending inward, pressing me toward the glowing screen. That's when I snapped. I screamed at it, pounded the keyboard until my fingers hurt, told it I wasn't afraid, that I wouldn't play along, that it couldn't script my life like some line in its cursed ledger. And for a second it laughed. Not text, not sound. A feeling, a cold, metallic chuckle vibrating through my skull. Then it spoke one last time that night. Your page is already turning. Desperation is still obedience. The lights flickered. My laptop fan screamed. And then, silence. I thought it was over. But I was wrong. Because the next morning, I woke to find something carved into my desk. 3 words, burned into the wood grain as if by invisible fire. Knock, knock, knock. And for the first time, I realized this wasn't confined to a screen anymore. It had crossed over, and there was nowhere left to run. I don't know if you'd call me a survivor. Survivors walk away from disasters. Survivors rebuild. Survivors sleep at night. Me? I exist. I breathe. I scroll. But the person I was before that server, he's gone. I used to laugh at people who said the internet could haunt you. Touch grass. I'd sneer, convinced that screens were a shield. But what I learned, and what you're beginning to understand right now, is that the internet doesn't protect you. It pierces you. It slides its tendrils through every fiber of your life, binding you to things you were never meant to see. That's the lesson I carry. My new normal. I tell myself it's over sometimes. That maybe I glitched out of its ledger, slipped through some loophole. After all, I'm still here, aren't I? Weeks have passed since that night. The knock stopped. The server's invite is gone. My account still works, though I don't dare join anything new. On the surface, everything looks ordinary. But ordinary feels like a costume now. A cheap, ill-fitting disguise that fools everyone but me. Because reminders linger. Always. Like the morning I found my name in a stranger's Twitter thread, buried in a list of confirmed users. Or the way my phone sometimes lights up with a notification from an app one don't even have installed. Just a blank square, with 3 words, knock, knock, knock. Even silence feels suspicious. And then there are the people. Or, more accurately, the gaps where people should be. Friends who just vanished. Not blocked, not ghosted, erased. When I ask mutuals about them, they frown like the names don't ring a bell. Like those people never existed. Tell me, what's worse? Watching someone die, or watching reality erase the fact that they ever lived? I think that's the part that broke me the most. Knowing that when it comes for me, you won't remember I was here. And yet, I can't stop replaying it all. The server, the predictions, the knocks, the thing behind the screen. I tell myself not to think about it, but the memories creep in like rot under paint. And sometimes I swear I hear typing in the walls. That's when I start wondering if survival was ever the point. Maybe the entity never meant to kill me. Maybe it wanted something else. Something slower. To let me stew in dread. To let me infect you. Yes, you. Don't think I don't notice you still here, still listening. You could have clicked away. You could have muted this, closed the tab, buried your head under the pillow. But you didn't. You kept scrolling. You kept reading. And now, you're part of this too. I warned you in the beginning, didn't I? I told you some doors can't be unopened. That even hearing the story was dangerous. But curiosity, that's the oldest trap in the book. The one thing none of us can resist. That's how it spreads. Because I've realized something. This wasn't just me. It wasn't just one server. There are others. Different links, different names, different bait. Some show up on Discord. Others hide in forums, group chats, even file-sharing sites. Each one a doorway. Each one hungry. And each time someone clicks, the ledger grows. You think you're safe because you're just a spectator. Because this is just a story. But that's what I thought too when I first joined, remember? That's what everyone thinks, until the predictions get personal. Until the knocks match the timing of their own heartbeat. Until it knows their name. That's the genius of it. That's the trap. You'll never know if your phone buzzing in the middle of the night is just spam, or something much, much older, typing its way into your life. So here's the truth I'm left with. There is no after. No clean slate. No escaping what's been written. There's only this. Living with the knowledge that my story isn't really mine anymore. That I'm just words in a ledger, waiting to be read. And maybe, now, so are you. So tell me, when your notifications light up tonight, and you hear 3 soft knocks at your window, will you answer? Or will you pretend you never heard them? If you've made it this far, then it's already too late. I know you're tempted to shrug it off, to tell yourself this is just a story. Pixels, sound waves, nothing more. That's what I thought too, right before the first knock. Right before the server knew my name. Right before my friends disappeared. But here's the part no one wants to admit. The danger doesn't stay trapped in the telling. It seeps. It bleeds. Every retelling, every share, every replay. It pushes the infection further. So here's what you need to do if you notice something off. Document everything. Write down the time, the sounds, the usernames. Screenshot the notifications before they vanish. Share your story anywhere you can, because once you're gone, that's all that'll remain. If anyone else has seen this, if you felt the knocks or caught the whispers in your feed, drop your story in the comments. Don't let it eat you in silence. The more we piece together, the longer we might hold it off. And if you think this ends with me, you're wrong. This isn't one server. This isn't one cursed link. It's bigger. The ledger stretches across platforms, across countries, across time itself. Every story like mine is just a thread, and together they weave something much larger. Something ancient. Something that doesn't stop just because you unplug your router. That's the part that still keeps me up at night. Not the knocks, not the file, but the possibility that this isn't even a curse, it's a network. And we're just its data. You'll see it soon. You'll notice the glitches in your feed. The way certain usernames repeat across apps. The way ads target you with things you never searched. That's it, watching, testing, waiting for the moment you finally click. So I'll say it one last time. Don't open the file. Don't give it permission. And for God's sake, if you hear the knocks tonight, don't answer. Still here? Good. But don't get comfortable. Because I don't know how long I have left. My own countdown hasn't ended yet, and I can feel the static bleeding in around the edges of this recording. If the screen flickers, if my words break into distortion, it's because it's closer than ever. And when that happens, well, you'll know. So watch carefully. Listen closely. And whatever you do, don't look away. Static bursts. Silence. Check your Discord right now. I'm not saying that for effect. I mean it. Minimize this window, open the app, and look at your server list. Count them, one by one. Do they all look familiar? Every icon, every name? Because here's the truth no one wants to hear. Once you've listened this far, once these words sink into your head, the server starts looking for you. It doesn't need an invite. It doesn't need permission. It just appears. Some people say it hides in plain sight. An icon you've scrolled past 100 times, but never really noticed. Others say it disguises itself, piggybacking off a server you already trust, waiting until you're too tired, too distracted, to realize something new slipped in. And when you finally notice it, it's already too late. I shouldn't be telling you this, but maybe it's better that you know. Because if the server's marked you, ignoring it won't help. The only thing you can do is share. Spill your story before the static swallows it. Post your warnings. Comment if you've seen something you can't explain. It doesn't stop what's coming, but it leaves proof you existed. That's why you're hearing me now. This isn't just a horror story. It's a record. My record. Soon, you'll need your own. So here's what you do. Go to the comments right after this. Write down anything strange you've noticed, files you didn't download, notifications with no sender, knocks when your house is empty. Even if you think it's nothing. Especially if you think it's nothing. Because those little details, pieced together, are the only chance anyone has of mapping how this thing moves. And if you're too scared to write it down, then at least admit it to yourself. Look at your list of servers. Ask yourself honestly, did that one exist yesterday? Because the server feeds on silence. That's how it grows. Every person who says nothing, every listener who just closes the tab and tries to forget, they're the ones who vanish first. Not with a bang, not even with a scream. Just gone. And you don't want that, do you? To be erased so cleanly that no one even remembers you were here? Then speak. Comment. Share. Leave your own warning where others can see it. That's not engagement, it's survival. Because if you can see the server now, that means you're already part of it. And if you can't see it, well, check again tomorrow. It has a way of showing up when you least expect it. So go on. Check your server list. Right now. And if you see something new, don't click it. Don't hover over it. Don't even acknowledge it longer than you need to. Just know what it means. It means you've been chosen. And once you've been chosen, there's no leaving. Static. Feed cuts.